Hola, jefe, from Spain. Hope I have a fabulous day with the family. Happy birthday. Sorry for ain't not possible be with all the family. Next time I try doing, and not this is it. Enjoy and have a lovely birthday.
Godfather, happy 60th birthday from Hong Kong. I'm sure you're having a great time with all the family surrounding you. I hope you have a great day. I think it's about time that we settle down by the lake that you promised us, so we can manage that strip club. I know me and James have been waiting many years to actually figure out what our true career path is, and you promised us this, and we're still waiting. Anyway, for your 60th, I just kind of wanted to go through how you got here. So obviously you have many roles in your life. You're the son to Rita and Brian, annoying brother to my dad Lee and Uncle Dino, father to 4 wonderful children, uncle to a Tarleton army, jester to all your friends, boss to all those peasants, and now one of the greatest roles that you can do is your grandfather to 2 beautiful grandchildren who I can't wait to meet. But I think most importantly, you did have one big role, and that was Godfather. So I've loved you being my godfather and my uncle. So have a great 60th birthday, and with the Godfather theme, I'll leave you with this quote. Italians have a little joke that the world is so hard, a man must have 2 fathers to look after him, and that's why they made Godfathers. Happy birthday, love you lots, see you soon.
Happy birthday, Gary. Have to say you look great for 70 years old, and to think you were only 43 when Liverpool last won the league. Have a great day and hope to see you soon.
I've known Gary since 1989, so to come up with one memory which describes his personality or shows off his personality is a bit of a challenge. But one memory which does come to mind shows off that outgoing but always with an eye for profit. It took place 22 years ago, and I know that because it was an evening when we were out celebrating Alex's birth and wetting the baby's head. Like all good nights in Cheltenham, it started in Montpellier, and gradually we worked our way back to town until eventually we ended up in the club bar alongside Pizza Express. Gary was approached by a not unattractive young lady to see if he wanted to buy a rose. Not just one rose, he said, but how much for the whole bucket full? Well, a deal was done, and the 2 of us took up our position in front of the bar. In order to get served and get past us, it was necessary to purchase a rose. Needless to say, all roses were sold, and at a healthy profit. That's probably a better night out, or better to describe than a subsequent evening where we were wetting Paddy's head out in Cirencester, and Gary took it upon himself and convinced a number of people that he could supply stolen tyres to order for all sorts of luxury cars. But that's probably best for another occasion. Happy birthday, Gary.
Hi Gary, just want to wish you happy birthday from myself here and everyone at Utility Discount.
What's my favourite story about the great Gary Tarleton? Well, it's not a well-known fact, but Gary likes football, and so he decided to take on Paddy's football team and coach them to glory. And they went along and they slaughtered all these teams up and down the country. And then one day, somebody, I think it was Jackie, was foolish enough to give him a resplendent tracksuit top with coach written on the back there. And Gary loved this garment. And rumour has it, not only did he wear it every day, but he wore it as pyjamas for a year and a half. And that sums up the man that is Gary Tarleton. Now then, all Tarletons have a passion for life, and one of their biggest passions is eating and drinking. And I'm fortunate to live just around the corner from where James and Gary work. And when I first moved in, there was a knock on the door, and who could be there but these two handsome Tarleton boys saying, right, Jack, we're off to James's favourite restaurant in the whole of Cheltenham, which is of course the Noodle Bar. So we set off to the Noodle Bar, we were in good form, chatting away happily. We got to the Noodle Bar, the owner was delirious. Take the usual seat, sir. You didn't even have to look at the menu, the usual was ordered. We sat down, everybody was in a great mood. Sitting there, and Gary had his back to the kitchen, and James and I were facing Gary. We were sitting there quite chatting away, and then we saw our food coming out of the kitchen. And this is where James played his masterstroke. He looked at Gary in the eye and said, Dad, you know I value your opinion. What, in your opinion, is the greatest possible Liverpool team of all the teams that you've ever seen? Well, said Guy, that's a very good question. I'm going to answer that for you now. Let's start off with the backs. We started off with the backs. We talked about that. And as soon as he went off on his little ramble, James, poof, down, facing at the food, boo, 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 started eating. Gary didn't notice it. He was in full flow, asking the 18-year-old waitress whether or not it was Rush or Torres who was the greatest centre forward. And then suddenly, to his horror, he saw that James was halfway through his food and going at pace. And Guy just pushed the waitress to one side, picked up his bowl and started eating. But James wasn't to be easily denied. This was his moment where he became king of all Tarletons and put his dad into his dotage and his place. He went off and he made, at this point, a terrible tactical mistake. He thought, right, no distractions, put his nose down, scoop, 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 and he had his sweat dripping off the end of his brow. He was going through his food as fast as you possibly can with just chopsticks to eat it. And Gary looked at him with withering contempt, because James had put his head down. He couldn't see what Gary was up to. Gary got his chopsticks like this and wrapped a piece of pak choy around it like that, forming a scoop. And then, and if one thing Tarletons can do well, they're magnificent masticators. And that food just disappeared. Jump, 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 jump. Went past James at finish. The restaurant erupted into cheers. Gary, king of all Tarletons. And the waitress said, you know what? I think Torres was the problem to have in your team.
Happy birthday, Gary. You want to see the outtakes of this video because they're very good.
Happy birthday, Gary.
Gary, we're really sorry we can't be with you tonight. But the person on my right hand side is also her birthday as well, so I've got to take her elsewhere. But we're missing you, and have a really great night.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy birthday, Gary. My memorable moment with you would have been those at least 8 bottles of Rosado down at the Kimrick, which was followed by your little ranting moment on the balcony when you were stark bollock naked, which ended up with having a little row with Jackie. Oh, I did really enjoy that day. Have a great birthday, mate. Take it easy.
Hi, Gary. So, James asked me to think of some things that happened. Well, we've had some very good moments together, particularly on the sporting front. We've enjoyed Swindon Town occasionally, Liverpool. I've given you some of my better tips, so I do feel somewhat in credit with you over that. Most people I'm probably in great debit to, but we've had some good horse racing fun, and that's going really well. Going back to work, well, I enjoyed working with you. I learned an awful lot from you, and I just remember the happy, funny days we had at Real Life. It was tough for us both. And we both moved on to much better things, I think. But I remember someone coming in and asking if they could buy a holiday home in Paraguay or Colombia or somewhere. And I said, oh no, I'm sorry, we don't have anywhere in Paraguay or Colombia. And Gary, you said, yes we do, yes we do. And I thought, well no we don't. And he said, well we do now. And yeah, we had some laughs in the coffee shop in Gloucester. It was certainly an education. You've done really well, mate, and fantastic on your success and all the stuff that goes on, which is really, really good. So you have a wonderful night, and I'm really sorry we can't be with you. Cheers, Gary. Bye-bye.
Well, James has asked me to say a few words and put together a short video. My problem is that after 25 years of knowing Gary both as a friend and a business partner, is to come up with a short story in 25 years. I can come up with a lot of long stories, but short stories are a bit more difficult. Whenever he introduced me to anybody, he always used to say, "This is Richard, he's a fool, but fortunately he's a lucky fool because he has a fool's face." And then go on to proceed to talk about my football team, which is Nottingham Forest, or as Gary used to refer to them, Nottingham Forest nil. It used to make me smile wherever we went because he'd try and embarrass me at all times. And so if anybody was working for me and I introduced them as somebody that worked for me, he'd always say, "Oh, is this the running dog that you told me about?" And then I had to sort of try and backpedal my way out of those kind of situations. And I'd wait for cues whenever we met anybody. There were many, many things that he used to say regularly. And so if somebody ever made the mistake of saying to him, "How are you today?" whether that be a restaurant or on one occasion it was a ticket collector on the train said, "How are you today?" He said, "Are you really interested how I am, or are you just trying to be polite?" And she said, No, I'm really interested." So that was a big error, because he then spent the next 15 minutes saying, "Well, it all started when I was at school. I had a bit of an asthma attack and it used to make it quite difficult for me to play some of the sports." And he went on and on and on. And she sat down next to us for about 15 minutes as he told her virtually his life story. So, I used to sit there trying not to laugh because he kept a straight face throughout it. But of course, that was part of his charm. And if ever we met an American or a French person, we had odds on as to how long it would be before he started talking about the mispronunciation of aluminum and burglarized and all the other words that Americans misuse. Or if the French were, lucky enough to meet him, then he'd be explaining that his real name was Nelson, and then talk through the battles of Waterloo and Agincourt, and many other things. So wherever we went around the world, we had these little routines, and I'd just be waiting for them to pop up. And one of the things that he liked to do as well was to order my food in every restaurant, which actually became quite good because his theory was that if somebody orders food in a restaurant, their meal is always better or bigger than yours. So if you let them order for you, then you end up with a better or bigger meal, which bizarrely seemed to work quite well. I do remember we were in a restaurant in Crete one time as well, and he was very keen on ordering the local produce. And I knew that Crete wine was some of the worst in the world. So I said to him, "I don't mind you ordering the wine, Gary, but please order something that's not local." So the owner of the restaurant shuffled over, looked like a character out of a Shakespeare novel, and said to him, "What can I get you?" And he said, "Oh, we need to drink the local wine." And the guy said, "Oh, I make my own wine." I thought, this is not going to be good. This is not a good thing to do. So he's definitely, I'll have 2 carafes of the local wine. So I said, "Well, before we order it, can we just try it?" So he poured us a couple of glasses, and it was foul. It was like vinegar, really awful. And Gary sipped it and said, "Yeah, that's fine. We'll have 2 carafes of that." And nobody would drink it other than Gary. But rather than admit it was awful wine, he put himself through the ordeal of drinking 2 carafes of very, very poor wine. But that was how he was. The kids have got lots of stories about him as well, and they particularly enjoyed one occasion when he and I were in a hotel in Venice, and we got down to the reception area earlier than everybody else, and it was a large marble reception area, and unfortunately there were 2 seats there with wheels on, sitting next to an office desk. And I looked at him and he looked at me, and the kids to this day go on about as they opened the lift doors and came out into the reception, both of us were wheeling ourselves around the reception area, much to the amazement of the rest of the 5-star hotel guests. But that was part of the charm. We went to Bahrain one time and I bought a shisha and had it in the overhead compartments. And Gary tormented the living daylights out of the stewardess by saying regularly, when the seatbelt sign goes up, "Can we light up the shisha?" And she was saying, "No, you can't smoke." He said, No, we're not smoking. We just want to light the shisha up. And she wasn't very happy about that. I could go on. I've probably got about 500 stories, but I think the one thing that brings them all together is the fact that whether we're in Bahrain or Dubai or Hong Kong, America, wherever we were, he made me laugh, and you know, those people that know him as well as I do will know that he loves to make people laugh. So Gary, for all the years of fantastic fun that you've given me, and I'm sure there's going to be many, many more, thank you very much for that, and congratulations for making it to this age. God knows how. You know, the amount of things that you've done to wind people up. I'm surprised that something hasn't come back to haunt you, but it's been great fun, and I'm looking forward to having a great time today, and I'm also looking forward to maybe another 60. Maybe another 60. All right, thank you.
Happy birthday, GT, 60 and not out. Excellent script. Well done. Enjoy your day.
Rose Nest, Gary. Do you remember this dinner iniquity? Your tab has not been paid yet, sir. A lot of people are looking for you.
Technology is a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Hi Gary, my everlasting memory of you is the day you explained to all of us how we should eat prawns in Garucha, and you bit the heads off all of them and sucked them, and then told us that was the best way to eat them, followed by the whole of the next day of you shitting and throwing up. So that's have a lovely birthday.
Gary, you old bastard. I hope you have a lovely day, and I wish I could be there, but you still owe me several pints. And I'm looking at Lee, your good-looking young brother, and I'm thinking, actually, you win. Enjoy your night, mate. Enjoy your day. And put a pound on the nag's head.
Hi GT, sorry I can't be there, but anyway, at least I can send you this little message. Anyway, we've been mates now for what, 45 years, and there've been a few good laughs and a few good memories along the way. Anyway, I'd like to remind you of one or two odd little things. And, as everyone knows, you love your rugby, and your boys love rugby, and they're pretty good players. But, you know, you being as modest as you are, they're probably not aware that you're a bit handy yourself. And I'd like to maybe just remind you of one little game when we were very young. I'd organised an old boys game at Liverpool College, and I pulled in a few of my ringer mates from Waterloo Colts team. We went up there, and we had a line out peel move where I'd knocked the ball down to one of the boys coming round, and Boldy uncharacteristically overthrew the ball. Anyway, to our absolute amazement, you, at 7 in the line out, you caught the ball, pivoted, and dropped a goal. Now, we were absolutely flabbergasted at this because, I mean, well, it was 40 metres out, and forwards didn't do that sort of thing, you know. In fact, I think you even did it before Zinzan Brook did his famous one. But anyway, what really surprised us was the fact that this was from 40 metres, and you know, you were such a lazy bastard that you never actually did anything unless it was in their 22 or your own 22. Anyway, that was quite a good memory, but I've got a few more. And do you remember the time? Well, we were about 20. I think you were starting your second year up at Durham, and you said, "Why don't you come up with me and we'll do Freshers Week? You know, it's great. We'll have a lot of fun." So you're feeling nervous? Well, you should be. Anyway, I'll go easy on you as Rita's there, but we drove up there, and in anticipation of having lots to drink and maybe meeting one or two young girls and partying a little bit and drinking a bit more and drinking a bit more, and anyway, we went out for a stroll one day, and it was beautiful, warm, end of summer day, and you said, let's go down by the river. So we went down, and there's a big footbridge going over the river, and it's probably about 80 foot high. And from there you get a wonderful view, and we've got all the people going up and down the river in canoes and rowing boats. And anyway, you always liked a little bit of mischief, and you said, come with me with an idea. So we shot off and came back with a bin full of water. and well, it takes about 3 seconds for water to travel that distance. And what really surprised was it spreads out quite a bit as it goes down. And anyway, we managed to get quite a few direct hits before the security guys, 2 big burly security guys, came running over the bridge to chase us. And of course, us being young back row players and fit, we're able to outrun them, laughing all the way. And you know, to quote you, well, it's only a little bit of harmless fun. Anyway, that night we heard of a house party that was going on, and you know, you've always been a bit handy with the mouth, so you blagged our way into it, and you saw an opportunity, and before long you decided, right, we need to be on the door. So you went and had a word with the guy whose house it was, and you convinced him that he needs some security people because loads of people were just crashing the party. So anyway, we were on the door, and you started charging everybody to come in, and the place was absolutely ram-packed full. Anyway, once we couldn't get any more people in, and you'd worked out that we actually had enough to last us the rest of the week, we started to enjoy ourselves, and we were moving around the party from room to room. And you remember we went into one of those upstairs rooms, and there was a load of blokes and a load of girls there, most of them starkers, all swapping clothes. And there was one big guy in there wearing a bra and knickers, and you started giving a bit of stick about it, and he got a bit upset. And I won't go into all the details, but he basically said, you know, he was an off-duty policeman. At which point you asked him if he could produce his warrant card from his knickers. Anyway, I won't go into everything else that went on. I'm sure you'll fill some of those gaps in for me. But needless to say, we had quite a good night, and we left that party, and we'd been drinking for, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 hours, something like that, and it was time for breakfast. So, you know, we went down to the Students' Union, and being a bit of a food critic, as I believe you now are, we only had one rule, and that was that you couldn't drink anything unless it was alcohol. So breakfast was cornflakes with Nuki Brown. Now, I don't know about you, but I haven't touched Newcastle Brown since. It was disgusting. But, you know, this is the sort of fun and mischief that a couple of young 20-year-olds used to get up to. And I suppose not a lot's changed, you know. You're in for a laugh, a bit entrepreneurial, and a bit of a food critic. And obviously tonight, I assume that you won't be having Nuki Brown and cornflakes. So on that note, I hope you have a great night. Regards to all the family, the Tarleton clan, and hopefully I'll see you when you come back up north. Cheers, my old mate. Bye.
Hi Gary, happy birthday. Well, James asked me to tell funny stories. Well, how can I tell funny stories? Because being funny is my signature, as you know. So therefore, I'm going to go the opposite way. So when I think of you, I think of hair, height, humour, power, charisma, and the most, and OT, and one of the loveliest people I have ever met. And your family with Jackie and James and that beautiful daughter of yours. Well, what can I say? You were perfect to work for, perfect to know, and the happiest time of my working life. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Gary. Rach and I are really sorry that we can't join you tonight to celebrate your 60th. But as you know, we're eating and drinking our way across Europe whilst we still can, and talking nonsense about Liverpool to anyone who'll listen. Activities which I know you'll approve of. So perhaps it's no surprise that we get on so well. But James has asked me to highlight one quality of yours which sets you apart from all our other friends and travelling companions. And for me, that would be easy. It's your snoring. Jackie, I don't know how you put up with it, but we've got a spare room with 3-foot concrete walls, and you're very, very welcome to come and stay there anytime you like when it gets too much. In the meantime, put some extra ice cubes in his next bottle of rosé and make sure he passes out on his front. Happy birthday, Gary. You're a legend and louder than life itself.
Hi Gary. Well, I can't think of any one particular thing. There was a whole range of things over the years growing up with you as a brother. Cyclone Attack Force, CKB, New Zealand, the Mavericks, karaoke in Stamp Spa, and I don't think I'll ever be able to thank you enough really for introducing me to the variations to the game of Conkers, which will forever be known as Stampers. I love that conker. Gary, you're a great brother. Have a great birthday. See you later.
I've been asked to say a few words about my brother on his 60th birthday. I actually have quite a few words I'd like to say to my brother. One of them is, I don't like him. He shot him a space hopper. He shot it with a present from his granddad. It was a broom-handled Mauser. The other thing was, he never let me head the ball. I was always in goal. I had to save his shots. That was my role, his understudy. But on a more serious note, I would like to say a few other words just to my brother Gary on his 60th. Foreign, intrigue, mad, together, inscrutable and sphinx, and also he ain't heavy. He's my brother. Happy birthday, Gary.
Hi Gary, it's Ian Rush here. I'd just like to say happy 60th birthday and have a great time. Good luck.